The first time Daniel Carter met Amelia Bennett, she accidentally ran over his foot with her wheelchair. Ow! Daniel jumped backward. Amelia looked horrified. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Then she burst out laughing. And somehow Daniel did too. That was the beginning. Not exactly romantic, but memorable. Amelia Bennett was the CEO of a multinational software company. Brilliant. Respected. Feared by competitors. Daniel was a widowed single father who ran a small community center. On paper, they had nothing in common. In reality, they connected almost immediately. Both worked too much. Both worried constantly about other people. Both had learned that life could change without warning. They understood each other. Within months, they were inseparable. Daniel's daughter Emma adored Amelia. Amelia adored Emma right back. The three spent weekends together. Movie nights. Charity events. Board game marathons. For the first time since his wife passed away, Daniel felt like his future might be opening up again. And that scared him. Because hope always carried risk. Still, he kept choosing it. He kept choosing Amelia. The wheelchair was simply part of her life. According to public interviews, a neurological condition had severely limited her mobility years earlier. Some days were better than others. Some days were harder. Daniel never pushed for details. If Amelia wanted to share something, she would. Trust worked both ways. One autumn evening, Amelia invited Daniel and Emma to spend the weekend at her estate. Emma spent the entire drive looking at photos online. Then she lowered her phone. Dad? Yeah. Her house has its own lake. Daniel laughed. I noticed. A whole lake. I know. Emma shook her head. We have a bird bath. The rest of the trip was spent comparing normal people possessions to billionaire possessions. It became a running joke. The weekend was wonderful. Until midnight. Daniel woke up thirsty. The guest room was dark. Emma was asleep. Trying not to make noise, he headed downstairs toward the kitchen. Halfway there, he noticed a light glowing beneath a partially open door. Strange. Most of the house had gone dark hours earlier. Curious, he moved closer. Then froze. Inside the room stood Amelia. Standing. Not sitting. Not supported. Standing. Daniel's heart slammed against his ribs. For several seconds, he couldn't move. Couldn't think. Couldn't understand what he was seeing. Because Amelia wasn't merely standing. She was walking. Slowly. Carefully. But walking. One step. Then another. As though practicing. As though fighting for every inch. Daniel stared. Questions flooded his mind. Had she lied? Was the wheelchair unnecessary? Had everyone been fooled? Then Amelia turned. And saw him. The expression on her face wasn't guilt. It was terror. Pure terror. As though she had spent years dreading this exact moment. For several seconds neither spoke. Finally Amelia whispered. Daniel. Her voice shook. Daniel looked at her. Then at the wheelchair parked nearby. Then back at her. What is this? Amelia closed her eyes. Tears immediately appeared. When she spoke again, her voice was barely audible. I can explain. Daniel waited. Amelia took a long breath. Then said quietly. The wheelchair is real. Daniel frowned. What? The condition is real. Another breath. The pain is real. Now he was even more confused. Then why are you walking? A tear rolled down her cheek. Because the answer was far more complicated than anyone imagined. And the truth about Amelia's condition would change everything Daniel thought he knew. The room was silent. Only the ticking of an antique clock could be heard. Daniel stood frozen in the doorway. Amelia stood frozen in the middle of the room. Neither knew what to say first. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. You said the wheelchair is real. Amelia nodded. It is. And the condition is real. Yes. Daniel looked genuinely confused. Then help me understand. For a moment, Amelia simply stared at the floor. Then she slowly lowered herself into a nearby chair. The effort alone seemed exhausting. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm. But fragile. I have a neurological disorder. Daniel listened. The condition affects my muscles, my balance, and my ability to walk. She paused. Some days are better than others. Another pause. Some days are much worse. Daniel frowned. So you can walk? Amelia smiled sadly. Sometimes. The answer surprised him. Because he had assumed mobility was either there or it wasn't. Amelia shook her head. Most people think disability is simple. A small laugh escaped her. It rarely is. She gestured toward the wheelchair. There are days when I can't stand without help. A pause. There are days when I can take a few steps. Another pause. And there are days when I can walk farther than anyone expects. Daniel slowly began to understand. The wheelchair wasn't a deception. It was a tool. One she needed. But not every minute of every day. Amelia continued. When reporters learned I sometimes walk, they called me a fraud. Daniel's eyes widened. What? She nodded. Years earlier, a photograph had surfaced online showing her standing at an award ceremony. The backlash had been immediate. People accused her of pretending. Of exaggerating. Of lying. Strangers who knew nothing about her condition suddenly became experts. The experience had been brutal. Afterward, Amelia became careful. Very careful. She stopped discussing her health publicly. Stopped explaining herself. Stopped trusting people with the details. Daniel felt his chest tighten. That's why you looked scared. Amelia nodded. Yes. A tear slipped down her cheek. I wasn't afraid you'd see me walking. She swallowed. I was afraid you'd think I lied. The honesty in her voice hit him hard. Because this wasn't someone hiding a secret for personal gain. This was someone exhausted from defending her reality. Daniel stepped closer. Then sat across from her. Why didn't you tell me? Amelia looked down. Because I liked how things were. Her voice cracked. I liked that you treated me normally. A pause. I didn't want to risk losing that. Daniel stared at her for a moment. Then laughed softly. Amelia blinked. What? You really think seeing you take a few steps changes who you are?